All right, I just got that later, Josh. Just, he'll be okay. Yeah, Chelsea's good, and so is Carly.
No, I asked him why he's wearing a suit.
All right, everybody, good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining me here on this wonderful Friday night. I'm Savannah Louie here with Atlanta News First at our First Alert desk. We've got 5 stories you need to know as we look forward to the weekend here. Hopefully you guys are all geared up here on the 2nd of June. It's 8 o'clock here, and we're going to start off with a story. This just breaking within an hour. President Joe Biden addressing the nation on the debt ceiling legislation. Now, again, this just happening at around a little after 7 o'clock today. Now, what we're hearing from President Joe Biden is that he announced that he will be planning to sign legislation tomorrow on Saturday, and that legislation is a bipartisan bill to raise the nation's debt ceiling and cut spending. The legislation allows the U.S. government to pay its bills, which averts a default and also a potential economic crisis. Now, President Biden says, quote, "Passing this budget agreement was critical. The stakes could not have been higher. No one got everything they wanted, but the American people got what they needed." Remember, the Senate passed the bipartisan measure late Thursday with more than 60 voting in favor. The bill raises the nation's debt limit beyond the 2024 presidential election. This Congressional Budget Office estimates that it will also cut spending by about $1.5 trillion over the next decade. And the deal comes just ahead of Monday's deadline when the Treasury Secretary said the U.S. would start running short of cash to pay its bills. If you've been following along with any sort of news organization over the last, I want to say maybe 2-3 weeks now, this has really been a top story. A lot of people very concerned about the debt ceiling legislation here. So a lot of people also very relieved that they were finally able to come to a compromise when we're hearing about this bipartisan bill, that the Republicans and Democrats were able to settle on something that seems to work out for both parties here. All right, let's bring you back here to Atlanta, Fulton County for a story impacting thousands of families, children, maybe even your kids here. We are talking about Atlanta Public Schools superintendent facing a major shakeup in leadership. Just hours ago, Atlanta Public Schools announced Superintendent Dr. Lisa Herring is leaving the district. There she is. You see her on your screen here. Now, APS hired Dr. Herring back in 2020. She came to Atlanta from Birmingham, and she replaced the previous superintendent, whose contract was also not renewed by the board. Now, the decision to move on from Dr. Herring means Atlanta Public Schools will once again be looking for a new superintendent. By the way, if you're keeping track here, it's the 3rd superintendent in nearly a decade. Dr. Herring released a brief statement on the move. She says in part, "Leading Atlanta Public Schools and caring for Atlanta's children over the past 3 years has truly been a dream realized for me as the superintendent. My desire to lead Atlanta with this work is still strong and present. I remain honored to have the opportunity and platform to highlight our students, our city, and our collective success while aiming always for continued excellence." Now, I thought this was pretty interesting. Dr. Herring's base salary started at $320,000. Her contract, by the way, ends next June, which gives Atlanta Public Schools just under a year to find a replacement. So even though we have learned that she is out today, well, she'll still actually be holding that position for a little bit longer here. Now, we, of course, will continue to keep you updated with any progress that the district makes in finding and hiring a new superintendent. All right, we're moving straight along here to another story developing, and this is one I feel like every time I'm up here, we're talking about the Atlanta Public Safety Training Facility. Tonight, new drama involving some of the folks involved in protesting that facility. Now, this again is a facility that critics call Cop City. 3 opponents arrested on controversial charges. These 3 on your screen are about to walk free on bail. The big news is that the judge granted bond to these 3 individuals arrested. The organizers, Marlon Katz, Savannah Peterson, and Adele McLean. They will soon be released on a newly granted $15,000 bond each. Now, they were initially arrested, connected to a bail fund that helped provide defenses to protesters taken into police custody. Those three will have conditions to their release, including they'll have to turn in their passports, they'll have to report to pretrial services. They must limit their social media use, but overall the judge here said he did not find the state's case, quote, real impressive. The state argued their alleged financial crimes were directly tied to illegal activity at the site of the training center. Now the governor and others say that these three, quote, backed illegal actions, and whether or not that's true, it'll be decided through court proceedings. But the judge did not see cause to keep them in jail. So if you are keeping up to date with all of the drama, and there's a lot of it, surrounding the Atlanta Public Safety Training Facility, you already know that this all happened just 3 days before a huge vote at Atlanta City Hall, where the city will vote publicly on funding the training center development. That vote happening on Monday. We have had a team of reporters covering this story since pretty much new developments began over a year ago with this facility. And as that vote comes to a head on Monday, we will have people out there at City Hall all day and then into the evening as well. So be sure to stay with Atlanta News First for the latest on that. All right, let's move on to a different type of concern involving police. This is out of Clarkston today. A police shortage. Now, we're no stranger here to police shortages, not just here in the metro area, but across the country. We've seen a lot of departments express concerns that they don't have enough officers or they're lacking officers to properly fill their force. But now, one metro department could whittle down to less than 10 officers. We're talking about Clarkston. Right now, these officers are making just over $46,000 when they start. If you compare that to, say, DeKalb County Police Department salary, well, those folks are making about $55,000 a year. The city's police confirmed Clarkston is budgeted for 21 officers, and, being down a few isn't unusual. But in a few days, she says they'll be down to 15 officers. So that's 21 down to 15 officers, and other officers have also expressed interest in leaving the force as well. Clarkston has a population of more than 14,000 people. In response to the police staffing crisis, the city of Clarkston announced a collaboration with DeKalb County to assist during peak times. They're hoping that those officers will be able to jump on in. Some leaders are advocating for an increase in police pay and proposing the city offer a signing bonus to entice more people to join the force. Now, I do want to mention, over the last couple of days, Atlanta News First has tried to connect with the mayor and the city manager about this staffing shortages. We've reached out online, over the phone, and in person, and in those 2 days, we have not heard back. If that changes, we will update this story just for you online. AtlantaNewsFirst.com, that's where you can find all of our stories that we're talking about tonight, and that we've done in the past, and that we will be doing in the future as well, including future updates. All right, got a really nice story for you tonight, how we're going to wrap things up here. We have a fantastic feature reporter, Sawyer Bussey. She does a wonderful job with these heartfelt, feel-good stories here in the Atlanta area. June, by the way, is a time where we celebrate the LGBTQ community, and Sawyer did a really sweet story that I wanted to share with you right now. It is Pride Month, but One Atlanta Coffee Shop is celebrating Pride all year long, 365 days a year here, and I want to share this story for you if you're looking for something fun to do this weekend. If you're a coffee lover, you might want to check this one out because it's a really, really great effort here.
It's like they waited on that line for the opportunity to connect with someone. So when I tell you that Finca to Filter is more than coffee, it's all about community and connection and rootedness.
Here at Finca to Filter, pouring a cup of coffee is not a job. It's a statement.
One of our mantras is, come as you are. We're a proudly queer-owned coffee shop.
A statement that says, you are welcome here. A statement that says, there is space for you here.
Finca to Filter was started during the pandemic under a lot of uncertainty, and my partner and I set out to create a space where we could show up as ourselves.
Finca started with a curiosity about coffee. It turned into time on a coffee farm in Guatemala, a blog, and eventually a company.
We believe that hope is a discipline, and if we aren't seeing what we want to see in the world in terms of open and welcoming and kindness and empathy, then we have to create it right where we are.
They have 2 outpost shops, a truck, and they're getting ready to open a Grant Park location as well.
This June through October, we have what is called the Queer and Caffeinated Menu. It's a celebration of queer joy.
Pride Month is all about celebrating love of one another.
We definitely feel like it's something special, so I hope that when folks walk through the doors, they feel special and welcomed as well.
Sawyer Bussey, Atlanta News First.
Some of those drinks looked so good. Oh my goodness. So again, that is Finca de Filter. They are ready to welcome you in. And also, I believe they have like special events and stuff during the week, later at night. So if you follow them on social media, they're pretty good about posting the things that they do and the fun opportunities and events that they have, if you're interested. Alrighty, and with that, everybody, I want to thank you so much for joining us here on this wonderful Friday night. I hope you have a great weekend here. It is 8:12, a little bit later than I usually keep you. Let's send you out with a picture of the Midtown Atlanta sunset reflecting on those buildings here. And speaking of bright ray of sunshine,
oh, so sweet.
I was talking about myself.
Oh.
All right, my mom always says, you know, you're funny when you can make yourself laugh. No,
I love
for
that.
the record, I was
Your mom,
yes, ...
is funny.
And I get my sense of humor from her. No, but I was talking about Cutter Martin.
Very kind.
Fantastic meteorologist and
Ooh.
our ray of sunshine
Oh.
here at Atlanta News First with a great forecast if you like the heat.
Yeah, that's a Friday vibe. Pool weather, going to Piedmont, maybe going up to one of the lakes, North Georgia. It is going to be an absolute center. Yeah, we're talking nice stuff here. Temperatures will be hottest on Saturday. A little bit cooler by the time we get into Sunday, low to mid 80s, but in general, it is still going to be very, very nice and somewhat summer-like out there. So again, get outside, enjoy this weekend if at all possible. Thank you for staying with us. ANF Plus, I'm First Alert meteorologist Cutter Martin. Here to give you a check of the First Alert forecast. Going to pull up weather graphics here. Just give me one moment to get settled as we track a very late spring, kind of early summer-like forecast that Savannah was just mentioning. And even this evening, we're feeling it out there. Temperatures made it up into the mid to upper 80s. Some neighborhoods right around 90 this afternoon. And it is still on the mild side. Again, flipping over to current temperatures. Right now, 83, Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. 83, LaGrange. 81, Locust Grove. 80, Flat, Gainesville, Athens, Covington. 79 in Rome. Canton, 76. Blairsville is at 70, a little cooler up in the mountains. And we did have a few thunder showers up there earlier today. So not too surprising that it's a little bit cooler, probably a little bit rain-cooled up there. That's why it's a little bit cooler in Blairsville with a few more clouds also lingering there at the moment. But hanging on to lower 80s here in the city of Atlanta. And it's going to be a fairly gradual cool down here as we go into the overnight hours because we're going to have a few clouds. We have a little bit more humidity, more moisture in the air compared to the past few days. And when there is more moisture in the air, the temperature tends to cool down a little bit slower at night. There's not as quick of a drop-off. And we've had many cool mornings. May into early June, that switch, so to speak, has flipped, and we're heading into a more summertime pattern with much milder overnight temperatures in the First Alert forecast. Let's get you back to current conditions. Again, low to mid 80s, kind of the rule right now, mostly lower 80s. Hour by hour, you'll notice the temperatures do drop off a little bit, gradually here, but still mild overnight tonight, down to 79 or so within the next couple of hours, 70, 1 a.m., 67 by 4 a.m., and I think we'll settle back into the mid-60s out the door tomorrow morning, and that's going to be feeling pretty nice. Again, coolest outside of the perimeter, I-285, mid to upper 60s, mainly inside I-285, the perimeter. But notice Sugar Hill, Beaufort, North Gwinnett, Lawrenceville, right about 62, 63, South Fulton, the Palmetto community, 61, Westside, Douglasville, Mableton, lower 60s as well, McDonough, 61. And Blairsville, one of the cool spots now, and you all will be cooler as well out there tomorrow, getting into tomorrow morning, maybe between 6 and 8 a.m., mid to upper 50s. So still feeling quite nice. Mildest inside the city. You get outside of the city, and of course it is a little bit cooler, so not quite a scorcher of a day and not that oppressive of a morning, but nonetheless it is going to be a little bit on the milder side tomorrow morning. Poolcast tomorrow. This is probably going to be one of the most popular Saturday activities as June weekends go. It's going to be a great one, especially Saturday for the pool and beach, or not beach, but lakeshore plans, we'll say. If you're out on the boat tomorrow, same story here. Dry day for the city of Atlanta. Very slight chance of a shower. Less than 20% up in the mountains. So like Rabun, like Burton, some of our Rabun County lakes up into the mountains of North Georgia, in and around Clayton, Blue Ridge. Some of those spots, a very isolated shower possible, but probably even less rain than what we had the past couple of days up there. And with sunshine and a hot weather pattern, temperatures peaking in the upper 80s to near 90. Great day for anything outdoors. Just as you see on the graphic there, your UV index will be very high tomorrow, level 9. Make sure you are applying and reapplying that sunscreen, staying hydrated, finding some shade if you're doing any strenuous outdoor activity, and probably a lot of yard work. Get ready for those summer activities. Folks coming to the house, enjoying the backyard, the pool. If you're getting the yard ready, make sure you're taking breaks, drinking water. It's pretty normal for this time of year, but on the warmer end of normal as early June goes for the city of Atlanta. 90 Atlanta, Gainesville 89, 89 Athens, 91 in Rome. So there will be some lower 90s in some of our hotter communities. Could be 92 or so, maybe 93 tomorrow afternoon. 88 in Noonan. A little bit of humidity around tomorrow. Don't think there's going to be that much of a heat index. Certainly not that much hotter than what the actual temperature reads, but technically may feel a degree or 3 hotter than what the thermometer reads into and through tomorrow afternoon. Starting our hour-by-hour forecast now. Dry overnight tonight. Out the door tomorrow morning. A mix of sun and a couple clouds. There are those mid to upper 60s inside the perimeter. Warming up quickly, though, by noon. Lower 80s. Even Clayton up to 78. Covington 80 degrees. Blue Ridge 80 by noon lunchtime. As we get into early afternoon, notice how forecast model here is pretty dry. This is what a computer thinks radar and satellite will look like. The whites and grays, it's simulating clouds. The greens, yellows, oranges, reds, simulating rain. And notice how we are mostly dry, mostly clear across North Georgia tomorrow afternoon and early evening. Late evening, a couple showers trying to work their way in from the upstate of South Carolina. So Blue Ridge, Helen, LJ, your greatest rain chance tomorrow, but like we said, it'll be spotty and pretty low, is actually going to be in the evening. Then we get into Sunday morning. Once again, I think Sunday morning begins with a few more clouds, so mostly dry, but it could be an isolated shower. And technically the rain chance is greater Sunday, but notice how it's mainly far north Georgia, far west Georgia, more so east and northeast Alabama into East Tennessee, western North Carolina. So kind of skirting our area, mostly dry Sunday. Don't think there are going to be too many impacts to plans, but technically that rain chance is a little bit greater on our Sunday. We'll call it 30%, mainly north and northwest of metro Atlanta, and mainly between about 2 and maybe 9 p.m. Mostly sunny, just a 20% chance of a shower Monday. Chance of rain Tuesday, but it's slight. Little cool front trying to work its way in. Doesn't really cool off the temperature, though. Upper 80s, lower 90s, kind of the rule through the middle and end of next work week. In fact, 88 Tuesday, 89 Wednesday, 89 Thursday, 90 Friday. Almost, or really, this is pretty much summer-like weather. Meteorological summer is underway. Climatological summer begins June 21st, or astronomical date, I should say, begins June 21st, and that's, officially the summer season. But basically, weather patterns are already there. It's already starting to feel and look a little bit more like summer. So remember all your precautions, sunscreen, stay hydrated, enjoy your weekend, get outside if you're out on the lakes, especially up in North Georgia, and especially Sunday afternoon and early evening. First Alert weather app is a great tool to have. Rain, lightning alerts turned on. You can be alerted to any popcorn showers, weak thunderstorms approaching your plans. Hopefully before they get to you, and that way you can duck inside for a few minutes, let it pass, and then go about your Sunday up in the mountains or at the pool, wherever you are. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Reminder, another check of the First Alert forecast, including the latest on Tropical Storm Arlene. We're not going to hold on to that title much longer, weakening overnight tonight, but we'll have the latest on that, your complete work week forecast, Sunday and Saturday, hour by hour, starting on Peachtree TV at 9 p.m. First Alert meteorologist Fred Campagna is back at 10 p.m., with the First Alert forecast. And then we will have our 11 o'clock half hour on back on WANF. And again, First Alert Weather app, AtlantaNewsFirst.com. Always a place you can grab the forecast. Have a wonderful evening. Looking gorgeous out there. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. And I hope you have a wonderful and safe weekend.